How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books, it's found on the battlefield. After I saw just how damn cool it was when you incorporated this thing, just as soon as I saw you sent me that thing and said, check this out, I was like, I have to incorporate, I have to upgrade, I have to find a way that I can integrate this new piece of knowledge that you have dropped on me. And I said, we have to use this. Now, fortunately for you, if you ever want to really laugh, again, I'm a barbarian philosopher. This means when it comes to the technology aspect of it, I do struggle. So I've got my integrator and I have one of my head coaches on last night with me. And I'm like, how do I just make it work? Because I downloaded it and I did this, but it's not doing the thing. And how do I make it do the thing? And of course, they're laughing at me. They're like, you're so good at working with people, but where's the button is kicking your butt.
Yeah, you're getting your butt 10 for sure.
So if you want to laugh, thankfully, Fathom was recording, and I didn't know how to make it work or not work. The entire interaction of me really struggling with how to make it work.
That's the intuitive side of it, right? So intuitive, you don't even know it's actually going to work, and it does.
It's so funny. The struggles. I got another thing for you. Actually, you know what? Real talk, dude. Guess I kind of missed you a little bit. I got some to share. So I got to work with a coach in Europe. She was certified, and she went through a couple different things, and I had to really kind of challenge what type of certifications they were, because they were missing such key components. And she's going to work with me now. She's like, I am realizing now I only have like a small portion of what I need for my training. One of the things that she was struggling on is something I think a lot of people, especially my guys, struggle with. Having to figure it out alone.
Yes.
I have to figure this out. She's like, well, I'm certified as a coach. Shouldn't I be able to figure this out? How come I'm having so much struggles just trying to figure out my own stuff when I'm certified and I've got the paperwork to show that I've done the training? I shouldn't be struggling like this. How do you do it? How do you figure this out on your own? How do you do that? And I said, you want the real? We don't. All us coaches get together and work with each other. I don't figure it out on my own. You don't figure it out on your own. Sometimes we're just too close and we can't even use the tools. We're too close, and so we lean on each other. I'm like, I've got my go-to guys when I'm struggling. It's not me doing it all alone.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, I mean, we gotta have that.
So it's very funny that we have this me-ism. My credentials, my pride, my belief system, my own fears make it so people don't reach out and go, hey, having a hard time right now.
Yeah.
What do you see?
Well, and there's so I worked with Jeremy Kubicek literally took me under his wing. He's the founder of this thing. And there was a sense of my inability to ask him for help because of the fact that he saw me as something that I didn't quite see myself as. And so there was just a lot of frustration around that for me. Like, and because I just, and even with you, like part of me still doesn't, I'm okay with vulnerability, you know that, but there's a point at which I'm like, how many times do I record myself needing to get support from somebody before everybody starts to, you know, people that I'm looking to or looking to work with start to see my videos, and then they're like, and this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I know that the other side of that is that they're actually going, oh, so Les actually gets coaching too. I get it to some degree, but where's the balance? Where's the line and all that? And I think that's where the wrestling and the insecurity comes in, is not knowing. And I'm trying to I am facing that and moving past it, but oh my word, it is definitely so frustrating. So frustrating.
That led me to a thing as far as like the ascension. Like, how do you level up as a coach and a person? It's a funny thing, like being able to have that, like, take it to the Super Saiyan level. Like, I'm 10 times stronger than I was before. How do people do it? And it's so funny. I don't know if you noticed, but we declared war on anxiety. I am working with people across the world, and I'm posting up the videos of the results of people who are helping them beat their anxiety and they're saying, I no longer need the medication because I've beaten the source of the why I have it. And it's working. Men, women, different cultures, different religions, different everything. It's working. The step by step is working because people know the answers but not the solutions. So it's working. The whole thing with anxiety and the thing with the way that we think that things should be is the sense of control. This gets into our coping mechanisms, the way that we protect ourselves, the way that we all deal with things, whether it be, lash out or retreat and hide, suppress, and all the different ways that we justify or negotiate our conversations or even just give up, which leads to the word surrender. There's a lot of words misunderstood: surrender, submission, all these words. People add in their own twisty twist to it that makes it just a mess. It's funny. The thing about surrender is people think that it's weakness or it's giving up or it's failure or you're not good enough. It's this stuff that we add to it. Surrendering control on stuff and thinking that your list that you make and your criteria you're supposed to live up to and all the things I'm supposed to be, you're just going to make yourself go crazier the more you try to control this list. The more that I'm the one, me, I'm the one who needs to control this. I'm the one who needs to be the one who handles it. The more you do that, the bigger the list gets, the more new things come up, the more out of control you're going to feel. Whenever it comes to this, the idea of surrender, whether it be to higher power, whether it be to a belief system, whether it be to even just letting things go and understanding and trusting in your abilities for your main pieces, which I think would lead us to the fifth piece, which I needed to add. You've got your problem solving, you've got your creativity, you've got your resourcefulness, and you've got your support system. But then what's your manifestation look like? We lean in on to go, this is where my faith lies, that I will be okay. I'll figure this out. And I don't have to control everything when I've got, whether it be God in my corner, or I know that I've got the resources and utilities and know that this will work out. And it's that surrender there that makes you no longer feel like you have to be in control, but it's a relinquish of control to make it so that you actually have control.
Yeah.
So backwards. So backwards. You relinquish your control, and you'll have control.
Yeah, and I think that's it. So, like in the scene of what is it that we really do in surrender, there is some level and some degree of we may not be able to come to the full terms of peace, but I recognize within that the war that I'm creating inside myself and the loss of who I am. Like if I'm embodying a bunch of cells and these are my warriors, like my body is my warriors. Moment, I'm surrendering for the sake of the whole, my whole community of me, and I'm not doing it because I'm weak. It's actually a way of raising up, recouping, being able to gather ourselves, and it leads towards more peace oftentimes, because ultimately somebody's got to say, all right, enough's enough. We need to wave the flag here, and oftentimes you have to wave the flag in that surrender mode just to even have patience with the other person. And it's not always that you're surrendering the whole fight. It's that you're coming to the table and you want to say, hey, let's have a conversation. And I think that that's the part of where, for me personally, I've struggled. I'm like, I feel like I keep surrendering and I find peace. And at the same time, there's not really the uptick of that hockey stick that we talk about in life, where all of a sudden now we're going back to the flourishing. It's coming, but I personally, Rick, if I'm really honest, in my own life, I think that what's happening is that I'm being forced to deal with the fact that this idea of immediate gratification, that if I do this, it's automatically going to get done, is the thing that I have waged war against, or it is waging war against me. It's saying, no, you need to, this needs to mean something to you. And the only way this is going to mean something to you is for you to understand that this doesn't come because you are entitled to it. This comes because you're willing to put in the work, you're willing to put in the reps, you're willing to do what it takes to ultimately be able to thrive in this environment, right? So that to me is kind of the key, ultimately. So
I think it's a huge recognition, man. This is it's so funny, our blind spots with this stuff. where like I'm with you, instant gratification. And even still, what's even more frustrating is what does it mean to say put in the work? What
Yeah.
does that mean? We think I studied this, I wrote this, I created this, I built that, I did the work. I did the work. You're like Noah on this one. I built the ark. Where's the rain? And it wasn't like, hey, I'm doing this and then there's just rain. Like he's sitting there like, I'm doing all this work. I'm doing all this work. And it's like, I think it was hundreds of years for him to build that damn thing. Like, I'm doing all this work. Where's the thing? Where is it? What am I missing? What am I supposed to be doing? This needs to mean something. What am I missing here?
Wow.
And it's funny that it's supposed to be on our terms. I controlled this. I did this. Where's my this? And it was not like that for me. People did. I still remember when we started going viral and things started going like it blew up. People were like, "Man, you're like overnight success. That just came out of nowhere. Wow, that's awesome. You gotta be excited." I'm like, you guys don't know the 5 years of not going viral that happened that was just working referral only and one client at a time and building my craft and my own evolution and getting my ass kicked and the tough months where Andrea was paying the bills because I couldn't do it that month. And you guys weren't there. You guys weren't there for the grind. You weren't there for the part where I'm investing and I'm losing money. I'm not making money. You weren't there for me getting just knocked down so I could learn a tough, humble lesson. The 1,500 days we don't talk about. Where's the meaning? Where's the gratification? Where is it? And it didn't come until I was in a full surrender.
Yes. Yes.
And it wasn't weakness. I didn't give up. You know what? And this is, choose your manifestation. I don't care what it is. I was like, God, listen, I did it my way. I did all the things I thought. I worshiped my meism. It's me, me, me. I did it.
Yeah.
Where's my gratification? And I'm like, you know what? I'm surrendering that. I don't need that shit. It's not working. Send the people to me that you need me to help and work through me so I can do it. I serve you. And when I give up that part where it's all on me, when I gave up, I have to be the center of the universe. I have to be the one who controls everything. All the stress went way down. Totally different stress, actually. It went the totally different direction. He's like, okay, well, then looks like you're ready for me to teach you another lesson in humility. I was like, what is it? He's like, here's too much. I had too many clients then. I thought this was a problem my stress went right the other direction. I can't handle all of these. And I didn't understand the healthy boundaries. I didn't understand the part where I have to schedule differently. I have to train other people to be able to handle other things. How do I hire people? I had the whole other side now tidal wave me. The humility keeps coming. Even when you get exactly what you thought you wanted, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And God's like, hey, did you just say, whoa, 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 slow down? Yeah, just hold on. He's like, as you wish. And damn it, you know what it did? It slowed down. And now I'm like, okay. Now I've got an infrastructure. Let's build it back up. He's like, you got to make up your mind here, bro. He's like, who's going to build it back up? I'm like, okay, so I know this now, and I know this now, and I know this now, and I know this now, God. I got this. He's like, what? I got this. I'm going to do marketing now, and I'm now, and I got success before, and I got this now. I got this. I have it. And you know what it does? It's a slow crawl.
It is.
You start clawing out of your own mess.
100%. And here's the truth is that the only way that you and I could be the best warriors or peacekeepers, whichever one, and it's both, they're the two go hand in hand, is if we can fully understand what's at war with ourselves. And we may have some insights, and this is probably truthfully my 7, the Enneagram 7. We always think we're experts the moment we read something new. We're like, I got this. I got this. And so then we go in and we act like experts in fields and areas that we are just not ready for. And so then so where I feel like I'm being led right now is the space of, oh, I have to actually put this in my own work. I actually have to do this. I have to sit with this. And I would do it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I've done this for a week now. I got this. And meanwhile, all back at the Batcave, I've got all sorts of messes that have just been they've been touched, but they haven't been turned into some sort of formative action. You know, it's like band-aids everywhere. I've got band-aids all over the wounds. I don't think so as much anymore, but it was that way for several years where I was making a lot of money in real estate. You know, we've talked about commercial real estate was I was killing it, but the truth is it was just a band-aid that was covering over the real stuff that was going on, and I was missing out on the gift that I've been given to speak in a different way, to love in a different way, and I was exchanging it for somebody else's ideal. And while meanwhile saying this is what I do is this other thing, that I am this guy who's loving. I am this other guy who nonconformist. I am this other guy who sees something different. But I'm seeing it, but I'm not embracing it as as my ultimate truth. I'm not. I mean, I could speak to people about it and they would find peace in it, but it was, and we all do this. I mean, the people that I'm talking to lately, man, oh my goodness, it's crazy. Actually, I got off a call just yesterday with a buddy of mine who was telling me that he he never stops, and he listens to podcasts all day long, every day. And he said, and he had this awareness as we were talking. He goes, "Man, I'm an overconsumer. I have so much of this knowledge, and yet none of it has been practically applied to my life." And honestly, I think been my challenge, is helping people realize that it's great information is great in a world where you have all sorts of it. It seems like if I just consume, just keep eating this food that's out there, if I just keep taking it in, then something's going to change. And there will be some transformations from that. There will. But when it comes to the really deep seated stuff that we've buried at the core, at the back of our brains, where we just want it to we don't want to ever face it again, until we allow that information to spend some time swimming with that pain, it's not anything but knowledge. It doesn't drop into our hearts into wisdom. It doesn't become that thing that we embody. It doesn't thing that we don't have to speak of because it's just the thing that we live. And I loved the metaphor that he brought up, the way he described it, and I think that this is part of where I'm at too, and part of the reason why I told you earlier that I'm in another, okay, I got to learn more lessons here kind of season, right? But he said, it's like, he's a 7 as well. He's like, I will pour everything into my bucket. My bucket is so full and overflowing. He goes, but I don't know what's falling out. Like, what is overflowing? And I pointed, and that was the pain that I had to come to him was, hey, brother, you just got finished telling me that you're struggling with your coming home, and you're frustrated with your kids all the time. You're frustrated with your wife. You're frustrated with your business partners. You're frustrated. I'm like, how long do you want to keep pouring all the things into the bucket until one of those things that's in your life just disappears? You okay if you keep pouring into the bucket, just raise it, so that one day all of a sudden your wife is gone and your kids don't even really know who their dad is, you know? And I think that is the part that people are not realizing in all this, is that they just don't want to pay money for all the different things they've got that they could just go download for $12, and they have all the information. There's no question. Nobody needs more information. We got every bit at our fingertips. We could all have all the knowledge we needed to become a doctor without ever going to school. Go find it, learn how to do it, do all of it. But I promise you, the first time you stand over somebody with a knife and you say, "Yeah, this is my first try," they're gonna look at you like, "Oh, well." And where's your doctor's degree? I don't have a doctor's degree. I've just gone through more. In fact, I've taken all. I know how to do all the surgeries. I mean, if that was even possible. But they have no skill. There's no skill in the process. They have all the knowledge, but no skill. And it's knowledge and skill can meet. There is no wisdom. And I think that is the part of this that has been so challenging, because I've had a ton of knowledge. I've been an overconsumer in my life. And it's one of the reasons why I've kind of quit. I'm really selective about the books and the podcasts and all the stuff that's sent to me, because, man, we don't have time to actually consume all of that. And ultimately, our consumption of that really is really more a lack of true trust that it's actually working within ourselves. And so we have to go find something else. That's why I have so many certifications. That's why I have so many degrees. That's why I've, uh, all the things, all the things. I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Though it is better to be a jack of one than a master of, you know, I don't remember what the second half is now. I just lost it. But yeah, that quote that we always say wrong. There's a lot of quote. I'm gonna have to look it up now while we're here. So,
Google that. Nice
Google,
rant, dude. Nice monologue, Les. There's so many beautiful points to catch with what you just said. And you just made so many good things. I think I'm just going to reiterate it in Rick Talk because, like, I think that you were killing it right there. That was
right.
really good. And so, like, I'm
Jack
going to
of all
tell you.
trades. Let me throw this out for you real quick.
Oh,
It is. Oh, I lost it. It wasn't the right one. Never mind. We're gonna come back to that, or we won't, and that's okay too.
one thing I like, I'm going to give you a fun little anecdote before we jump into what you
All right.
you just killed right there. That's awesome. It's funny when we go live and people's very first thing when they start talking to you is, what are your credentials? What are your credentials? And I recognize the pattern pretty quickly in everybody who starts off going, yeah, where'd you go to school? What's your degree? Where's your PhD? Where's all your stuff? Where's all your things? What I noticed is what they can't wait to do is tell you about theirs. Well, I'm a therapist. I'm a psychologist. I have a degree. I have a master's degree. I did the thing. So what I started doing is going, let's just cut the shit and you can just tell everybody how great your, plaques are or your posters are on your wall. Because it's not about do you help people. It's about do you know how much I have achieved. And I'm like, so please, can we just skip all of the achievements I've done? I've helped pull thousands of people out of hell. But you know what? Let's talk about the piece of paper that you have framed on your wall. Let's talk about you. And it's funny how much this hunger for acceptance or being valued or being important is led to this consuming of knowledge, podcasts, books, having certifications and credentials, but not actually doing anything with it. This is like someone who gets certified as a mechanic and they have a certification and they think that they are more qualified than the kid who grew up in the garage working on cars at his dad's shop his whole life. Wait, that guy's worked on thousands of cars. You have a piece of paper. This guy has lived and breathed this for years, yet you are more addicted than the man who has literally put thousands of people on the road. This is an interesting mindset that we have because we get so much more consumed with the idea of how much I know versus the application of how much I do. And we're measuring it incorrectly. So again, I have all of this brilliance. I read this book and listened to this podcast and I did these things and I am writing down ideas and dreams and I'm going through all of these says and I know the answer. I know the answer. I know the answer, but I'm struggling with my relationships, with my kids, with my wife. Maybe I need to know more. I need to know more. And it seems like the more that they listen, the less that they listen.
Yeah. Yes.
This is so important to people. The more people think that they know, the less they think they need to be taught. It's right in the way. And the humble pie, I liked Socrates on this one where he had the approach of I know nothing, because in the reality of how much is there to know, you know less than 1% of what there is, even if you're an expert. We don't even know, the majority is we don't even know what we don't know. Like there's so much we don't know. And yet we do not need to be open to listening to any new ideas.
Yes.
And if my kids are saying something, my wife is saying something, if my friends are saying something, but they don't have a certification, they don't have a degree, then I don't need to listen. And we wonder why. We wonder why we're struggling in other parts of who we are.
Yeah.
You're so afraid of screwing up because you know so much and your leadership is based on your credentials and not doing the deals.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It's like the cancer doctor who smokes, right? Like he knows all the information, but he doesn't apply it.
mhm.
Self helping, and And I think that's the part that, honestly, I take that to the nth degree. That's part of the challenge I face. Is I go into this world with this, okay, I got to have it perfectly figured out, and that's why you challenging me to like record around these things, to talk about verbally and authentically, it is an important step. And honestly, it's the thing that I teach. It's the thing that I teach nonstop to folks. It's the do you want to follow the asthmatic Sherpa to the top of the mountain, or do you want to follow the Sherpa that's been up there and has spent his entire life every single day training, taking care of his body so that he can get to the top? Or do you want to follow the guy who's made it up once
Mm-hmm.
and he needed the Sherpa to get there? You know, right? Does the guy getting to the top of Mount Everest make him a Sherpa? No, it makes him a fellow. A guy who paid a lot of money for an experience. And I think we do put too much emphasis in knowledge experience rather than actual hands-on. I'm doing. That's why the why is so important for us.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing this? And if I can talk to the doctor, the psychologist, whoever it is, if I can talk to that person and they can tell me why they jumped into this world, why they do what they do, and their passion is there, and I'm like, oh, you do this because you really care, not because you get a big paycheck. And it means something. And I want them to get a big paycheck. I want them to be well compensated for the services that they embody. And yet we have fallen so short in our culture of just swallowing the first, taking the first shot, let's go with the first vaccine, the first whatever, because we're so fearful, and we buy into a belief of people who haven't even had the experience yet, and then we judge everyone else.
It removes the need for critical thinking on our own. There's so many. Dude, you're firing off. You're on fire today, dude. All right, so talk to the doctor. No critical thinking skills. Like, people are going, I just follow what the person who has the credentials says.
Yeah.
Like, there's no thought of trying to do the work in capacity. Why? I'm afraid of screwing it up. So I'm just going to lean on somebody who says, I study this without question. There is no question. This has worked in everything from, the medical field to religion to all aspects. People who go, I am the authority and I should never be challenged because you should just listen to what I say. And if you get it wrong, there will be consequences.
Yeah.
It's funny that we get into this knowledge thing. This knowledge. You want to hear a fun fact about knowledge, people?
I'd love to.
Most people in high school and college who are very, very, very obsessed with the perfection aspect of it, the 4.0 and higher, the people who are the valedictorians, salutatorians, the people who are like top of the charts, statistically speaking, the highest they ever reach in their careers are generative middle management.
Mm.
Do you know why these people who are so smart never end up at the top? Well, not never, very rarely end up at the top.
Tell me.
They are afraid of screwing things up. They need the gold star. I can't get a B or a C on this. I need only an A. And if I will not get an A, and there's not a chance to get an A on this, I won't even do it. I won't go for a promotion. I won't change things. Too much uncertainty. I need to stay within the realm of being able to achieve with a perfect score. I need to have control. And because of their fear of not having control or getting the gold star or the 100% or the A+, they will not push into any aspect of risk at all.
Yeah.
This is why you wonder why your Jeff Bezos and your people who are like the big, like the top, like the Michael Dells and the people who are like these huge all success stories never finished college, were C/B students at best, like, dropped out of all these different things, and they just went out and just had like 6 businesses that failed, but then this one worked. People who are less afraid of risk and they just do and do and do and do end up having more success than people who are afraid to fail. People who are not afraid to fail seem to do better. This is one of the reasons I've been so successful and my warriors follow me into battle, as I humbly do not care if it all goes wrong. Nowhere. Like, I have on God failed every single thing to success. I fail I go in, no problem. I'm like, what's this button do? Like, no problem. I'm like, just let's blow it up. Oh, let's try it. I was joking yesterday with talking about the team of people that work with me, and she's talking about like one of the people she works with, their boss in a different region was like, they are such an idiot. They are such an idiot. And I'm like, that's interesting. The boss at my company, I think most of the time is just fucking winging it. I feel like this guy goes in confident. He's just like, I don't know. Let's try that. Hey, let's give that a go. Let's try that strategy. What do you think? I like it. Let's do it. Like, it seems like the guy who owns my company is just winging it half the time. I can only imagine what my people think. Like,
Yeah.
because they're like, I know that he's brilliant at this part of it, but on this part, it feels like he knows what he's talking about confidently. But it sounds like he's just kind of winging it. And I'm like, that would be true. Let's go.
That was right on the nose.
Good awareness. You've been working on it. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Now if I get the wisdom. Now if I can just fall down in there and become embodied, and it is slowly but surely, and I think that's part of the, I think I mentioned something to you multiple times. I say it all the time. Is there's this fear that I have around selling myself in a salesy sort of way, and it's because I don't want to present myself as an expert, and then they aren't able to actually follow, like, see the benefits. I actually have the fear that I'm going to overpromise. And there's some reasons why that. I mean, for that, it's some old wounds. Not even that I don't overpromise. It was literally just a shit show of a bunch of people who really didn't know what they were doing in that particular moment, making mistakes, and later on having to, put the car in reverse of life and come back and say, man, we screwed up, and we all did it, and we all said it, but it doesn't change the fact that I felt still. I could forgive them for their faults, but I still was like, I could have done better. I should have known better. I should have, and I should all. Yep. Go over myself to the point that I feel like I am stuck because I am in this world of self-protective strategies with a deep desire to support others, and those two things can't go together very well.
It misses, especially the part where you said I'm worried about selling myself or being overly salesy or over promising. It's funny how it's going to fall on its head when it has to be it's so much of you that's on the table instead of what do you need? And do I have one of those?
Agreed.
And so it's like when people come in, I don't think I even have that fear of like selling myself wrong, because it's not about me at all. I like when I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, what do you need? The only thing I look for is like, do we have that in stock? It's not about me. I have anxiety and I don't know how to beat it. I'm like, oh yeah, we have that in stock on how to get rid of it. I'm going through these like really negative shaming talks and kicking my ass. I'm like, oh, we've got that. We can help you with that. I'll get you one of those. Yeah. I'm just riddled with self-doubt and I just don't believe in myself. I'm like, oh, we've got that. We've got the fix for that. And it keeps working. I've got guys who were beaten down by doubt who now say it doesn't get me anymore. I know how it works. I'm like, I have those in stock. Do you want to get the thing that you're exactly looking for that has nothing to do with me?
Yeah. That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, now, like, we could take that I have that in stock notion, and it truly is true. We've all heard this. You can't give what you don't have. Like, you can't give something that you don't already possess. Mm-hmm. Well, that in stock item is the very key, and I think that is the challenge of. I don't want to take it too far, but the guy who's buying, I'm losing the name of him. The person who make sure everything is stocked. The one who is in stock. The one who's supposed to be in charge.
Your inventory guy.
My inventory guy. Yeah. My inventory guy in those moments seems to be not communicating well to my own brain.
He's not putting in his reports. You're like, where's the inventory report? This guy not putting it
here. I want to tell this guy that I got in stock. Are we back ordered on this? Half the time I feel back ordered on what I, and yet I give it freely. I have no problem giving it free, and maybe that's why I don't have it in stock, because I'm just giving it away for free all the time, and I did it for so many years, But and so now it's like, how do you tell someone that this thing that used to be free is now now we charge X, and I think I recognize deep within me, like I have the knowledge of what to expect in that and what that means and how to break free from it. But it's still the trap of my own brain, the insecurity of, you know, being misunderstood.
I think it's the same answer. Again, I used to give it away for free. How much is the value and how much it should cost? No. How important is it for you to have what you want or need? How much is it worth for you? You know, it's funny. How much is it worth to save your marriage?
Yeah,
How much is it worth to be there for your kids every day?
those are the
How,
questions I'm asking more. That's
how
where
much is it worth to not be paralyzed by anxiety and possibilities and having panic attacks and like having to go to the hospital or feel like you have to be on medication? How much is it worth to be free from that prison? How much is it worth to be able to remove the thing that knocks the motivation out of your sales so you can actually fulfill your purpose? How much is it worth? Well, I used to give that away for free, but you know what? I got really damn good at helping people to help people. And so it's about what do you need and how do I get you what you need?
right.
What is that worth? What is having that for you? And let's just go ahead and call out the obvious here. Let's call it out. How many of your certifications, your degrees, your mentorships, all of the things that you've had to invest in, how many of those are all free?
Of course, none of them. Yeah,
Well, how much was it worth for you to have those?
it was worth uh, hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Well,
maybe even upwards
what
of maybe even upwards of millions.
are you better or worse than them? Which one is it?
Oh, I would say that I'm different. I'm not better or worse. I'm just different.
Oh, so you're different than they are.
In terms
They
of the
don't have to.
no, no, yeah, in terms of the fees, no, 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 you're right. I am not different, and it's I think that is it is a weird self-trust thing. I believe that still we come back to that. You know
I
that
don't know if it's trust. I think it's a worthiness thing. It's a belief, not a trust. And like while trust may be a belief, it is a belief. And I think trust is based on more I can trust or I can have a belief system that you won't have intention to do harm to me. I don't know if it's a trust part as much as a worthiness part. Do you
so
believe you're worth it?
I do believe. So that's the interesting thing is I really do believe I'm worth it. The trust factor comes with the fact of the I think I may have sent this to you, but there's this. I have this piece of paper here. Yeah, I'll just read off of it. I think I sent it to you. It's the being responsible when I feel responsible for others versus when I feel responsible to others. I,
Interesting.
I have taken on a lot of ownership of situations where I was not, I may have been at fault to a degree, but I was not, I was willing to own it. I was willing to take ownership. And I would take ownership in times when it was not appropriate for me to take ownership. And that story that I told myself really created this. Oh, Les, well, when you start to do something really well and you start gaining any sort of, we're going to call it power, but it's not really power, it's influence. But in my head, it's influence into power,
Hmm.
then you're going to screw it up. You're going to screw it up because you're going to get frustrated at someone and then you're going to go off the handle. You're going to screw it up because you're going to speak too directly and they're going to feel hurt. And I'm
Let's do
taking,
it. Let's
but in
go
that,
off the handle. Let's screw it up.
well, no, but this is the difference between responsible for. Okay, so responsible for means I have to fix, I have to protect, rescue, control, carry their feelings, don't listen,
Too much.
right? Yeah, but
Can't.
responsibility two is show empathy, encourage, share, confront lovingly, level, be confront at a way that's exactly what they need. I'm sensitive and I listen, and so
Those are all good, but it removes accountability on their end. This is like
that's
you
right.
have to be the one.
That's what
This
responsibility
is
two
the
is for. That's why it's
this
so much better. Is because it's literally I only am responsible for to my gifts, not for your interpretation of them.
yes, and it's dangerous the way that old was is because it's not leadership, it's enabling.
Yes, yes.
And that's scary when we have to be the solution for everybody and we don't allow people to learn their own tough lessons.
Oh gosh, you just hit me so between the eyes, and I just realized as you said that that's what I moved to after we did our first real going to serve other people in the community of our church that we started.
Mm-hmm.
Is it was all fine and good because I was responsible to my gifts. And somewhere along the way, I started to be responsible for these folks. And when I made that shift, I I realize now, and it stayed this way for some time. I would give it away free, but it was what I was doing was I was shortchanging the depth of the transformation that needed to occur by giving them the answers that I thought would allow them to be, oh, I can make this change. And I was just like, all right, now I'm hands off. I did my job. When in reality, what I was being is irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't taking the time to slow down and say, look, I could give you some answers right here, and that would be wrong of me. I could be drop some wisdom bombs on you right now, and you're going to walk away going, oh my goodness, that was so good. And all I did was become another book quote, another podcast,
Another knowledge
another
dump.
knowledge-based dump, and then now they haven't done shit with it.
Yes, they feel productive because they had a good feeling because somebody told me an answer. But this is why my video, The Answers Are Not the Solutions, is more profound than I think most people will understand. Is it's not about the answers. People know the answers. Even that coach I talked to yesterday, who's working with me now, they were like, I know the answer, but the only way that I could bridge the gap between where I am and the answer is to just pretend like I am doing it, even though I don't have the gap. I'm like, I got it. I know the answer. I got it. I'm fine. I know the answer. I'm like, but you're not fine.
Yeah.
You're just suppressed, and you're telling everybody the correct answer, but you haven't actually done the work to complete this bridge. It's you can't have nothing can cross it.
Yeah.
You're missing too many pieces. And this is where the answers are not the solutions or the lessons, is when the accountability becomes enabling, and I'm just feeding you free information as my influence or my power as a leader is going to make it so I can show you the way, but there are no steps. It's just information. It's ideas.
Yeah.
And without people being able to feel the pain of failure, feel the pain of it all blowing up in their face without touching the stove and getting their own scars, nothing changes at all. We just make them feel we're a little dopamine rush that they feel like they're making progress but don't actually have to do or go through anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're the heroes. This is a curse for probably most coaches.
Yeah.
Majority, vast majority.
There is a serious flaw in this system. I guess I could see it as someone is out in the middle of the ocean and they're drowning, and I show up on the scene. First of all, I show up on the scene. I'm in a boat, okay, and I tell them, hey, all you have to do is swim, and here's how you do it.
Yeah, relax your breathing.
Relax your breathing.
Breathing techniques.
That's right. Now kick slowly and start reaching forward, right? But all they need in that moment is a life vest.
Just throw them the lifesaver.
Say, here's some hope. Now then, let's see how we can get you from there into the boat. And then once we get you in the boat, teach you how to actually swim. And then that way, if you're ever in the ocean again in that moment, you'll know how to handle the situation. And then it's slower. You have to have lots of lessons of swim lessons. You don't learn how to swim to survive an ocean until you actually really know how to swim and float. And this isn't about swimming, but that's the metaphor that comes to my mind is this idea that I really would rather just teach you how to swim and forget about the fact that you're actually drowning right now. And you're going to feel like you just swim, the information, but meanwhile, you're still drowning.
I'm with you on that one. I think my strategy goes a little bit more to like, if we can get you out of this ocean, let's address how the hell you got in the middle of the ocean.
Agreed.
Can we? Yeah. How the hell did you get here? What happened?
Agreed. There is that. How did you get here? And that's what I tell people too. Is you can't go where you want to go until you know where you are. So many people are just, like I said, like pouring everything they know into the bucket, and yet they have no idea what they really need because they haven't slowed down long enough to know themselves in order to be able to understand why they're even telling the story that they're telling to move forward.
The best truths or the best lies are 95% true.
Yes.
The best lies, most of the best excuses that we have are people who Like, it's got a lot of truth mixed into it.
Yeah. No question.
I mean, it's not all true. You want to hear something kind of cool? This gets into a lot of conversation. We're talking about taking in knowledge. It's all about me. I need more. I need to do better. I'm the one who can't be failing. I'm going to do it this way. It's all about me to help them. I have the answers. I'm the solution. I want to get into something I really like. My pastor put this out there, and I'm sure he got this from somewhere also, but he was going into the 10 Commandments of meism, modern meism. Me. It's all about me. And he actually made a good point. This is the second oldest religion, second oldest religion of humanity that we have, at least, as far as we can tell from the Bible or whatever it would be. Second oldest religion. You know why it's the second oldest religion?
No.
What was Satan's temptation to Eve?
Knowledge.
Well, what would she be like? What would happen if she ate from the fruit?
Yeah, she'd be like God.
She, like God. It would be me who's God.
Yeah.
I would be the one. It's
Yes.
me. I don't need God. I would be God. I am the center. So here's the 10 Commandments, and I'm going to kind of go through kind of quickly. And I thought this was really clever, so I can't take full credit, but I actually do a lot of teaching on this stuff before I even heard this, so I kind of incorporate my stuff with his stuff. So you'll see. All right, the first one I've been working hard on for especially the denial curve. Number 1, I am the source of truth. I am. My truth, not the truth. It's my truth. My perception is reality. It is not about what's real. It's about how I say it's real. My truth is all that matters. Number 2, feelings are authoritative and support my truth. So I am ruled by my feelings. It doesn't matter what you're doing or saying or what is right. It's about who is right. And my feelings dictate who is right. My judgments, my emotions, my justifications, none shall be challenged because of my feelings. And that is all that matters. Number 3, I am an expert about myself. I know me best. This means I don't have any blind spots. And if you see one, well, then you should be shut down because you're the one who's messing with my perceptions. I know me better than you. That means disagreeing with me. You're the problem. That's a you problem, not a me problem. I'm good. I know me, even if most people don't. My goals are supreme. All that matters is my goals and my ambitions and my dreams and what I want. That's all that matters. That's important. That's all that matters. My goal is supreme. I determine goodness. Number 5, I determine goodness. Good is my opinion only. And I'll let you know what is good and what is not good, who is good, who is not good. It's all about me. I am the creator. Number 6, I am the creator. I shape my world. I am the king. I am the queen. I am the power and control. I can do anything I want, even if I have to lie to myself to become it. I will fake it till I make it. I am the one who will manifest. I am the one who controls it with the law of attraction. I am the center of the world. It's me. I'm the king. I'm the queen. Number 7, you are powerful. I am power. I am the center. I am the one with the answers. I am the one with the knowledge. I am the one who controls it. I am the one who has all of the power, all of the things. I will control the list. I will control your behavior. I will control all. I am powerful. I am the one. Number 8, the ultimate goal is happiness. I have a right to pleasure, and no one should ever dull my glow. It's all about me being happy, and happiness is the ultimate goal. Number 9, you are not to be held accountable to your choices. I do not deserve consequences because I have good intentions, and I should not be judged by the actions or the results that I do. I should only be judged on the justifications and intentions I have when I was doing them.
Wow.
And number 10,
Drum roll.
if there is a God, the only reason that he or she is there is to support my dreams, my desires, and my ambitions. God's purpose is only to make me happy. And if God doesn't do things the way that I think it should be done, then there is no God, or God is bad. They're not good at being God. They need to do things to make me happy. In fact, God needs to be getting out there right now and taking care of the evil people and the bad people, and not try and tell me how to live my life, not tell me what I need, because I am a good person. And I don't need to be measured or judged on that. I tell you I'm a good person, and I'll convince you I am. That's how you know I am, because I know me best. And
Yeah.
I'm a good person no matter how much I betray the golden rule. That was just some other guy's opinion. So it's funny because religion is a belief system that we create. It's like forms of worship, and we're always worshiping something or always serving something. And in this one, the modern age of what we're doing right now with selfies and the narcissistic behaviors, which is oftentimes misdiagnosed, people are making everything all about themselves. Now, this doesn't mean you are a narcissist. This isn't a diagnosis for all. See, I take selfies. I'm not a narcissist. Like, listen, we all do narcissistic behavior in some way, shape, or form. Everybody. It's just misconstrued often because the intent behind it is going to be different for most of us. But when we are posting up so many things about ourselves, our vanity, our pride, our ego, our addiction to attention, and how it needs to be about me. Just think about just the raw arrogance of going, Les, I need to post more things where you can see pictures of myself because I believe you should be interested in looking at me.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, even that out loud, it's like, yeah, it sounds a little icky.
Yeah.
You should be stopping your day to look at me.
Yes. And at the root of that, it's an objectified world of how we have established ourselves on the front of what we see is all we are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much more to that. And in fact, here's the funny part is that when I look at all of these, there's an element of, if you put this in the context of spirit, simply understand that I am not the ego that is screaming these 10 commandments of meisms, right? But when I can recognize it, I can move that ego over into that passenger seat and let it be the co-pilot of my life, and I put that spirit in place. I can start to say things, these same exact things, in a way that are not about me, but for the higher good of everyone. My truth, valid in the midst of my experiences with all of you, is a very different statement than my truth is all that matters. Because the only reason I know you're here, this is my esoteric we talked about last week. The only reason we know we're here is because of the backdrop of everything that is around me. I would not know me without you, without the walls and the materials and all these things. So to even be me, it takes all of us. The only way that I can reside in the scope of the larger self is because of the fact that you are here. And so it's to our benefit to start to recognize within ourselves, right? This depth of, oh, I only exist because we are all here together. And that is that's up there with one of those truths that most people will not get because they won't take the time to realize just how small they are against the backdrop of this all that's here. It won't look. It reminds me of Galileo when he finally realized that this Earth is actually not, things aren't rotating around us.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually rotating around the sun, and then that is rotating around our galaxy is now rotating around another. People are like, no, I refuse to look. They wouldn't even look in the telescope to see that there was truth there, because they were so, I know, I have
Mm-hmm.
the truth, and I will truth. And the most dangerous part of that is when we have a rallying point for all the eyes who know the truth. January 6th comes to mind. On both sides, by the way. I'm not just talking about the ones that went to the Capitol. I'm talking about everybody in that moment who had rallied their I belief with other I beliefs that were close, but just enough to say, okay, well, the enemy of the I believe that I have is that Capitol on the Hill, or the new president, or this, or whatever it's going to be. We do this all the time. We do this in such small ways. We do this around the most mundane things, right? I mean, we do this around TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
We rally around it. So I love this. I think this is. I'm gonna steal this snot out of this.
Steal it. I already know that. Like, you're like me. We're gonna add to it.
Of course,
This
yes,
can be. This is not complete. This is just pieces.
yeah,
This isn't a full puzzle. This is just, oh, there's a part of this puzzle that I can add to the rest of it. So this is why this is just answers. This isn't the solutions.
yeah. Yeah, don't go try to apply this. Now that you have this knowledge, you are no longer. It doesn't make you now no longer focused on meisms.
Well, it's awareness, and this is where like the first tool we train in the Warrior's Way is to train awareness, and people don't recognize just how powerful it is. That's also why I'm republishing my first book. I published that book before I was working with as many clients as I work with. Like, before I got into working with a lot of people, I had a theory on how it seems like it could be working. But I was even looking into my book, and I'm reading this thing. I have to republish it because 3 chapters are incomplete by my own standards. And I don't think I'll ever have it complete, but that was the best I knew at the time. And so I'm like, this needs to be republished because my awareness section is 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
And now that I've been doing this for years, I'm like, it's almost its own book. It's just this one section and how deep just awareness goes and how little people have this one skill. And it's very important that this is not you're born with it. It's a skill that we practice, not only awareness of what's going on around you, which is an astronomical amount of information, but also awareness of how do I feel and go through all the thoughts and emotions and beliefs around what is happening around me.
And I'm going to push back on that just for a second because I don't know that we aren't born with it. I think we actually come into the world 100% aware of only one thing, what we are feeling. And we only have a few ways to express that. And then over time, other people start to tell us what we should be feeling. And then we start to believe that our feelings are irrelevant, and we lose sight of the most simple, basic knowledge of, I am hungry. And so what do? We don't even know when we're hungry, so we overeat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. We don't know what to do with ourselves when we're tired. So what do? We drink more caffeine. And we push ourselves. We push ourselves because there's always this expectations of others are driving everything we do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, I don't want to say that across full sweeping, but a large majority of our world, I know that even the best of the best still have expectations. I know some real giants in this who literally don't schedule a time. They say, I will meet with you on Monday, and it will be sometime around, because they are so present in the moment that they can walk this way. And then people that are like, well, how insensitive of them not to take my feelings into account. Well, what about their feelings? What about the fact that they're trying to make themselves completely aware of the fullness of what is present right now, the needs that others have, and their own? They have to understand where they're at in order. You cannot continue to serve everyone without being able to serve yourself as well in that process. And I love the people who are able to see such things and not. They don't feel guilty if they're late to a meeting. They don't feel guilty when they can't make all the commitments happen. They don't feel guilty when they say no.
It's so easy, though, to make that confusing because being able to say, like, okay, so you're saying that this guy kind of just gives a rough idea and shows up when he shows up and kind of just does his own thing. And he says he's serving other people, but like, if we're supposed to do something together, like I just sit around for 20 or 30 until he's like, now I'm done. Like, I'm like, and it's roughly this time frame, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a perfect science because I don't do it very well myself. But no, I think it's just the awareness of sometimes I be aware of my own energy and my own state. And in that moment, if I come into this, we all have things that happen throughout the day, and it's more about the awareness. He doesn't say I can't schedule something. It's more of a I will try to meet with you. Not the plan is this, but I, like Stoicism, as information comes in, I reserve the right to understand that I might need to shift this.
Change my mind, yeah.
Yes, and it's not that he won't keep his commitments. It's just that he's not constrained by the time of those things, and it is frustrating, dude. And it's not perfect. And I think there are times where he's a human, and it's still a matter of I think he. But guess what he does? He's transparent about it.
Mhm.
He says, "Oh man, I let some things get in the way of our time when I knew this was a commitment that I made." And then he keeps us into the bargain though. And so many of us don't do that. We just defend it. We defend. I can't be transparent. So what do? If I miss a meeting with someone, how am I going to describe that? Hey, brother, I've had something come up. I may even lie and try to make it sound a little
It's
bit
it's a
better than
part
it
it's
feels
a
like.
partial truth. Excuses works in most
Yeah,
truths.
yeah. So it's that idea. But this is a complete ownership of saying, yeah, I overcommitted today. Well, what's wrong with saying that? Why can't we say such things?
Well, the reality is a little different than that. That's a nice way to say that you are a lower priority to me.
And yet, is that not okay?
Oh, I don't think it's a problem,
Yeah,
but people do.
people do.
People don't.
But
People
people
do
do.
not like that.
100%.
Remember
Yeah,
my truth, not the truth.
yeah, yeah. I actually attempted something not too long ago from a book that I read. Again, my knowledge was in effect. I didn't have the wisdom of it. The knowledge was there, but the guy said, hey, when you're working with folks and you're as you're gaining your clients, what you can do is you can give them these live transformational experiences, and they're long. Like he wants 2 hours, and I did 90 minutes, and so I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll do that. But what happens when people don't show up? Well, he says what you do in that moment is you say to them, hey, why don't we just take this off the table right now until the time is right? Well, I did this to a guy who was really hurting. And what he heard in that was enough that he has ghosted me ever since then. Won't even return my text.
What was the theory behind that? Because I don't see it right now. I don't see it initially right now. What is the theory behind that?
The theory is that he wants, his whole premise is that right now it's obviously not the right time for you to understand the commitment that you're making to yourself. And there are some agreements made when he gives this away. So,
Maybe I'm
so
missing something on this one, Les. Maybe I'm
no,
missing a piece of it. Is was this a scheduled event for like multiple people, and then some people
no,
didn't
no.
show up, but some did?
It was a one coaching session that I was giving away for free, but it's an
Okay.
extended session that is purely, I mean, it is on for him to learn a little bit about himself, right?
Okay.
And in that moment, the agreement has been made, and I've said, hey, please really let me know ahead of time if you can't keep this commitment. Well, and this was actually for me, it was the second time. So because I was like, I can't do that. I'm not going to say what this guy said, but the way he said it, now that when I went back and looked at it, it was powerful because he said, you're creating an ahead of time and you are giving away your time. You are basically paying him to consult with him,
Hmm.
counsel and coach him, right? So there's an honor in him understanding that this is my time that I'm giving away to you with no expectation of anything from you, right? And when that guy on the second time didn't show up, I was
Okay.
generous about it, right? I was generous, but it was still enough in that moment for that to not be okay for him because it hurt him. He felt like, wait, you just basically told me that everything that what I'm doing is not important and you're not being patient and you're right. So, and that can happen. And I obviously didn't set up the agreement well enough for him to understand that this was really a valuable thing for me,
Hmm.
and that somebody else could have been in that situation. And I did it not out of a place of confidence. I did it out of a place of scarcity mentality of like, man, I needed that call because it could have been a new client.
I see. Okay.
So the
Yeah,
whole
I was having a hard time
that's the
like connecting that piece. Yeah, I was like, what is why?
and it is. I mean, because I actually had to go back. I thought I had it. This goes to whole knowledge versus wisdom concept. I thought I understood the concept, but I made it about me rather than about him.
Yeah,
And the
I
awareness,
think I was missing that. I was like,
may
I
not,
didn't see it.
yeah, this may not be the right time for you. And if that's okay, let's put this on the back burner is very different than leading with, maybe we should put this on the back burner until the time is right for you and just leaving it there. My intent was actually not to be harmful, but over a text message or an email, it comes across as a little bit more.
Yeah. When you say leave it on the back burner, what does that mean? Does that mean like, hey, let's stop doing this until you're able to keep your meetings or something? I don't know what that means exactly.
So when someone, for example, I do my best, and I think I've done a pretty good job in honoring our time, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So in that moment, if I was to tell you, and this is the state of the affairs, I have something going on. I need to talk about this. And then you rearrange your schedule or schedule something in place of something else that could be beneficial, I mean, like important for your day. And I'm not, and something comes up for me that is not that big of a deal, and I cancel on you, then what I've done in that moment is I've said to you, this isn't really as important as I thought it was right now.
Maybe.
Well, no, I know. I'm talking about from the perspective of what is going on in that moment. If I was to do something like that, there is a communication of I'm not valuing your time, and I'm not valuing the fact that you are here to support me because of this other thing. It's not that he can cancel. It was that in the moment, like I was ready, and 10 minutes before I got a cancellation call. Right?
And that
It's
felt disrespectful. It felt like he's not respecting your time.
Well, it's yes, and it's also the fact that you know where I've been. According for me, like my time is valuable right now. It's valuable because every meeting that I have is a potential way for me to care for my family,
Mm-hmm.
and this is new business, and so I could have had another meeting instead. This is my justifications. These are not accurate. This is the
Okay.
scary reality that I'm coming from with, right?
Right.
The premise of this for that though, the reason why this is an important thing is to help people begin to recognize until they can take the time to invest in themselves, it would be better for them to wait until the time until they are truly at a place where they are ready to move forward and there's nothing that's going to get in the way. Nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the point is it's until the pain of someone's life, until the meisms are driving them to the nth degree crazy, they can't break free from that. They can't until they understand just a little bit of that they're creating their own pain within their life by not keeping the commitments from people that are willing to help. They're hurting themselves. So it's me helping them see that this may not be the right time for you, brother, and that's okay. But
I
I said,
understand now.
from my perspective, just to tie this up in a nice bow, I did actually, when I went back, I didn't do anything wrong. It's obvious that this guy really needed this,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have been a possibility. And he is my brother, and I care about him still, and I can't wait to actually see him face to face so I can be like, dude, I screwed up because I probably did come off wrong and didn't set the agreements in place well enough.
Interesting. I see it so different.
Of course, we're two different people. It's okay.
Well, no, I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying I just see it so differently. Like even to say I screwed up. No, you didn't. You learned a tough lesson because that wasn't authentic to who you really are. You didn't screw up. You needed to do that. That was needed for both of you. Because how does he handle things and how did you take it?
Yeah, maybe that's true. That's true. And I guess the comment is that I shouldn't say that I screwed up, but I unintentionally hurt him, and I can be sorry for that. Whether it's true or not, that was my intention. I can still say I'm really sorry, and that's the part that I think and honestly, here's the fun part, Rick. This is the very stuff that I can tell you right now has always gotten me in trouble. When someone has that moment of reaction or no reaction, my first thought is to go, what did I do wrong?
Nothing wrong with it. That's a good question to answer. And it's not even just like, what did I do to make it so this outcome happened? It's not even a judgment needed. Who did right, who did wrong, who was good, who was bad. It's just, okay, what happened there? And then how can I improve? And so I just see it so differently. Whenever I have people who again, as an entrepreneur, when I'm working with other business owners or leaders, I'm like, let me just be real with you guys. If I were to throw a party with all of us, for every day that my exact schedule goes exactly the way that I exactly planned out, we will have maybe 3 parties a year, because 362 days of the year, it does not go my way. Like something always comes up that knocks it out of whack.
Yes.
In which case, like whenever somebody doesn't show up for one of my meetings, like if they just don't show up, again, it's not all me. I'm like, God, where am I supposed to be then? Because if this guy's not here and I'm supposed to be who is it? And so this happens every time. I'll throw it out like, anybody wants some backup right now, or anybody needs something. And there's always somebody who's like, bro, kind of glad you reached out. I'm struggling really hard today. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be there today, not
Yeah.
with this person. And so I don't take any part of somebody else's deal personal because that's maybe not where I'm supposed to be. And it's not me calling the shots. It's like, where am I supposed to be today? Take the wheel, man. Tell who's drowning, who's struggling. So if I'm trying to get the guy who's sitting on his life raft going like, oh no, I got some other shit going on today, versus the guy over here who is drowning. I'm like, well, I have an appointment with life raft guy. Well, this guy needs help right now.
Yeah.
Well, have a different awareness of going like,
Like,
if you feel like you're good, I'm going to go help this guy drowning, not drown.
well, and to be real fair in the area, it it was at a time where I told you, man, I mean, I was struggling to trust my own instincts, to hear my own voice. I was applying other people's systems to something that I don't. It's not how I operate.
Absolutely.
Single time that I do that, it always bites me in the rear. Not always, but it's not.
High percentage.
Yeah, it does. It's I'm trying to be someone else, not myself, and that's the antithesis of the way that I like to work with people. I do not want people to do what I do. I want people to discover what works best for them, and that's where I guide them. Is how does your giftedness work in this? How do your strengths apply here?
Correct.
And so this was totally a misnomer of we both were victims of scarcity mindset of not believing in myself that I'm enough,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's all it was. That's all it was. I'm over that now. It's those things that it sticks with you. It has stuck with me for so long, and now I'm finally able to call it out on my own.
Yeah. High level, dude. That's good too.
Well, it
I
took a
also,
little to get there, but hey,
no, I mean, it's part of the journey. Remember, instant gratification is not on our terms. It's going to go the
I'm
way
talking
it
about
needs to
today.
go. Oh,
I'm talking about just now.
oh no,
It
you're
took us
good,
a
man.
good 10 minutes to get there. Oh,
It's
yeah.
it takes the time it takes, man. It's I think it's good awareness. It's super high awareness. I do lean against blame, shame, judgment. So the shame part, a lot of times the apologies that we give, even if it's heartfelt, it comes from a place of feeling bad for what we are. Or, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. You're not sorry. I don't need you to be sorry. It's just how do we grow? And like,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Let's say, I don't know, I was supposed to help you with something and I just didn't get there in time or something goofed up, and being able to go like, all right, so here's what happened. I planned this thing to be done here. That didn't happen at all. My planning to try and schedule to the minute, my bad. I shouldn't be scheduling to the minute anymore. That was a terrible, like, goof up on my part. I now learned, give myself that 15-minute grace period so that you and I never have another missed meeting. So, yeah. Is it cool with you if next time I'll just make sure I'm a little late? You good?
Yeah. 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 Makes
I
total sense.
admitted where it got screwed up. I found what the problem is, and then I created a solution to make sure it never happens again. Do you need me to feel sorry?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessary to go like, no, we just grew. Now,
Yeah.
do you have it in you as far as your development to give grace for somebody who just learned a lesson? This is where people they get
Yeah.
in their way, thinking like, this is where I see a lot of people who are trained as kids to say you're sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, say you're sorry like you mean it. I'm sorry, even though they don't even know what they're apologizing for. It's feel bad for who you are. Shame is not necessary for us to learn.
Agreed.
It can be an indicator to go, there's something wrong here that I'm saying to myself, maybe pay attention to, but it's not necessary lesson. Same with blame, same with judgments, same with guilt. Not necessary to learn something. This is just indicators that are put there that something may need attention.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
And so I don't agree. Andrea and I, we don't apologize to each other very often. Like I don't require her to say she's sorry. And she doesn't require it from me. I go, okay, I can see where it went wrong. This is what I see as the problem. And here's what I think would be the best solution so that we can grow. And she may go, well, I see the problem this way, and this is what I think the best solution is. And then we can kind of team up on it as a couple and go, what's the better way to deal with that? And instead of going, you should feel bad.
Yeah.
You should feel bad. Well, no, the reason that happened is to learn something. Let's learn something instead of feel bad. Feel bad for what you did, guilt. Feel bad for who you are, shame. You should feel bad. And here's also how you should do it now that I feel like I have an authority to tell you you're bad. That's judgment.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, oh man, I don't know if that's necessarily a system. I think Marshall Rosenberg calls it jackal speak. You know, he says giraffe talk, jackal talk.
Oh, wow.
Jackal is control and put people down and destroy. And like, you know, he's passed away, but his stuff for NVC, nonviolent communication, is like really, it's some useful stuff. He was a master act. I enjoy his stuff, but that's a jackal speak. You should feel bad for who you are. You should shame, blame, put people down, judge. You should be guilty. You're bad. Be better. My way is better. Be that. There is no room for growth. It is only be what I say.
Yeah.
And so you see people in relationships who just hyper apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not focusing on lessons, not focusing on growth, not focusing on how you can connect or be a team. I'm just sorry. And somehow that's supposed to make it better. Instead of how do we improve, it's just acknowledge that I'm not good.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the sorry thing being necessary. Not for myself, not for my friends, not for you, and not for my wife, not for my kids. What did we learn and how can we grow is far more valuable to me than you should feel bad.
That's interesting because truth be said, and we've missed this a lot, and I don't want to get on the rabbit trail of confession, but confession does not require an apology. It's an accounting. It's an accounting of behavior that you recognize was harmful, but it doesn't say that you need to say I'm sorry. It's, oh, I'm heading in the wrong direction. All right, I'm gonna turn around.
Awareness.
I'm gonna turn around and repent. That's repentance. It's just to turn away and go the direction that you intended. And I think that's another knowledge point that I would love to drop into my wisdom bank. That would be amazing. You know, we're gonna work on that one. That's got some awesome stuff. I like it.
It's pretty powerful. Yeah, it's cool to watch how we all process these different things and how do we, you know, apply them. And that gets right back to the knowledge versus application.
Yeah.
It's not about your certificate. It's not about your knowledge that you listen to 100 podcasts, even this one. It's what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You know, are you going to do something to help somebody today? Are you going to work on a project that makes you feel fulfilled? Are you going to get your hands dirty and make some mistakes so you can grow even faster?
Yeah. So good. That's so good. Well, this has been good, man. Seriously, it's been encouraging in a lot of, and also great to process my own stuff out loud. And if it serves other people, I sure hope that is wisdom for you, not knowledge that drops, but will one day land inside of your own heart. You know,
it
not
absolutely does. It absolutely does. There will be people who listen to this and go, "Man, am I on the same page with that guy?"
Yeah. Yep.
People are starving for authenticity these days, and it's beautiful to see you do it. Just go, here's my real thing, man. Just putting it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do my best.
Yeah, keep doing it, buddy. You're doing it.
My goodness.
Yeah, I think it's great, man. I love these things. I love hanging out with you. I love your points of view.
Absolutely.
This is super useful.
Absolutely, and mine too. I've needed a warrior in my life for sure, and yeah.
A healthy warrior. People tell me all the time, you're the fastest warrior I've ever met. I'm like, I have killed some fucking horrible things.
Yeah, to get here.
Yeah. But because I am trained, I don't have to be flexing all the time or fighting or screaming or yelling. Because I'm trained as I actually just put a podcast up with a guy from South Africa the other day, Andrew, sweet dude, love this kid. And it's such an authentic and real video with this guy. He's just a young guy, just figuring his stuff out. And I even told him about like how to go Super Saiyan with vulnerability because he's a type 80 Enneagram, so he's a challenger type. And all of his systems for protection mimic a prison. Each one, he calls it protection, But, that safety, security, convenience blocks out not just the bad things, also blocks out the good things. And I'm like, it sounds more like jail than it does protection. And so when I started to talk to him about like how to level up and get to that vulnerability part, we have a very cool moment in there where I show him how to do it. And this is where I go like, man, let me just share my heart with you. I believe in you, bro. And he knows. He sees me work with groups. We work on our Monday group, where it's an international group, and there's like 100 people in there, all over the world. And when I'm teaching that class, I'm not in there doing the bullshit thing like, I believe in you, and I believe in you, and I believe in you. I don't do that. He's like, we have talked multiple times. You know me. We understand each other. And you haven't said it like that before, which means I really believe you. Otherwise, my defenses would have blocked it if I just watch you blanket throw out bullshit.
Right.
And I said, fair enough. And it's like, I really, truly do believe in you, man. Like, I think that you are something unique, beautiful, and special. And I have your back. I believe in you. And I'd go into battle with you proudly. And he's like, man, I feel really good.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what warrior vulnerability looks like, is I build up. We encourage and empower. I don't knock you down so I am better. I have the courage to be able to show my heart to you with no fear. I am not worried if he rejects it. I'm not worried if he gets it. He just needs to know that I have no fear to share that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, man, that's Super Saiyan shit. And I'm like, tenfold. And I didn't get it for a long time.
Wow. Wow. Well, there's a lot of things to get for a long time. We have to wait for those lessons, don't we?
I don't feel sorry. I just had to learn it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Good stuff.
Awesome, bro. I really honor you. It's an honor. I appreciate you so much. As a friend, as a mentor, and as a warrior, I can go shield to shield with. Thanks for being there, bro. This is a good time. Let's do some more.
All right. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let me know if you need anything, brother. It's good to hang out with you guys, and thank you guys for joining us with the Bearded Wisdom with Les McDaniels and the Warrior's Way Mindset, the Battlefield of the Mind.
I love it. So,
have a good night, everybody.
Peace. So, question